This is TWiT.
The annual notebook shipments are likely to break records in 2021, but Google, who has been really ruling that for quite some time, things are starting to slow down. Samsung and Apple look like they're at some of their highest growth. Rene, what do you think is behind all that?
I think Apple got two things. I think the pandemic really juiced both iPad and MacBook sales in general, because a lot of people had to suddenly figure out home situations, not just for themselves and their work, but for their kids and studying at home and all of those things. And it led to a lot of people upgrading or buying into laptop ecosystems. And also Apple had a big boost off of the M1, which I know when we were talking about what laptops to get my godkids, it was just a no-brainer, because the combination, we could have gotten cheaper laptops for sure, but you didn't know where they were going to be from any point in time. You didn't know how many kids could plug in their laptops, because some of them were doing every second day schooling and the situation kept changing. And just looking at those and going 15 hours of battery life, it's ridiculous. And the performance that you got for that, and I think that was really eye-opening. It wasn't pulling it was the functional equivalent of the aesthetic of pulling the MacBook Air out of the manila envelope. It was just, I can't believe it can do this and do this fast. And I think that turned a lot of heads, and then the pandemic converted a lot of those purchases.
Andy, do you think this is a growing trend or just a blip?
I think it's a cyclical trend as opposed to a blip or a growing one. This is one of the things that was Apple had two things in their favor: the ability to actually ship computers that people really, really wanted. There's a lot of pent up interest, so that's going to be a big boost. The pandemic also was a big advantage, because again, a lot of people who could get by with having one laptop for all their three kids to share, now they really need to get something that would work for each one of these people. It's glaring that this report specifically calls out Samsung as one of the big winners in this sort of surge, and not the Windows market in general. It really speaks to how diversified Samsung's portfolio is when it comes to hardware. So don't think that this is going to be, oh my God, we might actually now have like 18%, 15% of all desktops in the world instead of just 12 or 13%. But yeah, it's a good year, and it just comes to show you that there's so much excitement behind the Apple platform right now. The number of times where I've seen, I do keep up in post groups for all kinds of different platforms, all kinds of different demographics, and the amount of posts I've seen about people who are just thrilled that I always wanted a MacBook and now I finally got one. This is great, and they've got their picture of the thing open and their first text document and things like that. It really does bespeak of the feeling that this is a new chapter that's open for Mac, and people who have been waiting for a certain number of years for some sort of sign from above, or at least Cupertino, that it's finally time to stop waiting to upgrade or waiting to switch to Mac, that this is now a good time to do that. They've finally got what they wanted.
Well, and I think that also Google had a good year last year, and I think part of the problem though for them is that the impact of a lot of teachers, not a lot of it was education. A lot of teachers didn't know what to do with that, hadn't been pushed into that. And I think some of it might have led to a little bit of an upset with Chromebooks. I know my kids just hate them. I have two kids that are 11 and 13, and it's not like they hate them a little. It's like if my son would if he didn't have to pay for it, if he did it, he would throw it out the back door, like as hard as he could. Like he just hates them.